I'm Holly Constant.
And I'm Maddie Hockaday. We really love Parks and Rec, and we really love behind-the-scenes details.
So we're researching everything from DVD extras like deleted scenes and commentaries,
plus interviewing cast and crew who actually worked on the show.
We also bring on guests and friends to geek out about everything parks.
So join us, you tropical fish.
This is literally the best Parks and Rec rewatch podcast.
We're your park pals.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Okay, everyone. Hello, here we are, Season 5, Episode 20, Jerry's Retirement. This is such a good episode. Oh my gosh. I was so excited when I saw that it came up. I was like, finally, this episode. I love it so much.
I agree, but I also have some very cringeworthy moments in this episode. But yeah, I agree. And we're getting to the end of the season, right? We've got 2 episodes after this one. Mm-hmm. And it's just been such a good season. There's been so much development from beginning to end. So
yeah.
It's crazy.
Totally. Well, this was written by Norm Hiscock and Aisha Muharrar. And Norm, we've talked to. I will post his interview in the show notes so you guys can listen to that if you want to. He is so sweet and so precious, and just always gets back to me so quickly. So love that and very grateful for that. And Aisha, we've heard many things from. She's on The Good Place, or was a writer on The Good Place. If you listen to the Parks and Recollection podcast, you've heard her many a time. But just a brief overview for Norm. He's famous for doing Kids in the Hall, King of the Hill, obviously with Greg Daniels, all the things. I tried to reach out to Aisha a while ago, but I never heard back from her, and she doesn't have her contact information listed, so I don't really know how to get in touch with her. So, but if she's listening, I hope she knows that we are huge fans. But yeah, she's on The Good Place and a bunch of other stuff, as I mentioned previously. And then this was directed by Nicole Holofcener, who, OMG, is an Academy Award nominated director for Can You Ever Forgive Me with Melissa McCarthy. This was a couple years ago. Yeah. And I don't think I had realized when I first reached out to her, because she's directed a couple of episodes of Parks. When I first reached out to her, I don't think I realized that she was a Academy Award nominee. Yeah. And I was like,
that she had that accolade.
Oh my God. Because I think at this time she might have been up for it, but I don't know. Or maybe it was like a year. I don't know. But she, I think, had her agents listed. And I was like, well, why the fuck not? So I never heard back. But either way, I am a huge fan of hers. She is also a writer and producer for a lot of Julia Louis-Dreyfus movies. There's this one called Enough Said and You Hurt My Feelings. And You Hurt My Feelings is so good. I feel like they're just, I don't know what the word is. They're like kind of indie movies in a way. But, and I guess I'm only saying that really because it might have been in the theater, but I just don't feel like it was as prominent or like people knew as much about it. But Julie Louis-Dreyfus is obviously phenomenal, and Nicole Holofcener is a great writer and a great director. So I just think that she should get more, recognition. And I think in Hollywood she does. But for like the layman that doesn't really know that she's a writer and director, I feel like civilians don't really know her. So I'm trying to just spread the word. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Here for it.
So great dream team. And then she also, so like I said, she directed 4 episodes of Parks total. She directed Eagleton in season 3, the one where we see Leslie's Eagleton nemesis. I always think of, when I hear Eagleton, the episode name, I always think of the one where they go visit the Eagleton Park. You know what I mean?
The one that they go what? Sorry, I sneezed.
Visit the Eagleton Park. The one with Brad, what's his name? Julie Louis-Dreyfus' husband, actually.
His husband, yeah.
So, but anyway, that's not the Eagleton episode. The Eagleton one is where they see Eagleton for the first time, and Parker Posey is like the nemesis from the old park days. Anyway, so she directed that. She directed Smallest Park, of course, and then a great episode. And then she'll go on to direct the Pawnee Eagleton Tip-Off. So she has some really amazing direction under her belt for this.
Absolutely. It would have been perfect if her all 3 episodes were Eagleton episodes.
I know. That would have been funny, actually. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I really wish Julie Louis-Dreyfus was on this show. I'm going to write my own fan fiction that she comes on somehow. She's so great.
Yeah. She just, this is like a tangent, but she did such a great job in her little play off in the SNL anniversary show when she's in the audience with her emotional support dog or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so good.
She's great.
Okay, well, I'm ready for a summary whenever you are.
Perfect. Okay. Jerry's retirement day comes as a surprise to everyone, and Leslie feels the need to change her PTO day into a day Jerry will never forget. Anne and Chris talk next steps in having a baby, and Tom tries to stop himself from becoming the next Jerry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Tom. Takes it very seriously.
He does, which is part of the problem.
Right, exactly. Well, like I said, I really love this episode. We finally get to see Jerry singing his song, the Eggs, Bacon, and Toast song, which is like such a canon moment, I feel.
Oh my gosh. I feel like, well, it's monumental. We sing it in our house every time we have eggs, bacon. And even if we have waffles, we change it to waffles or whatever. So it's, yeah. And I'm sure we're not the only people that do that.
Right, totally. And I just love seeing this episode of him being a real human and a good dad. Yeah. Like, I love it so much. And just like Jerry being the highlight of the episode is really cool to me, you know?
It is, yeah, after he's been made fun of for all these years. And I love that little peek-see and the little nugget of honesty he has to Leslie when she's at his house too is so great.
Yeah, it's really nice. And the name of this episode apparently like freaked out Jim O'Heir and a couple of the writers because they were like, so Jerry is leaving? Like he's just done? And they did. Apparently Norm said that they actually did kick that idea around. Like, so is he just, he can come back. Obviously everybody comes back after they retire and have a nice moment. And, you know, writers figure out a way. But Jim especially was freaked out like, oh, I guess I'm being written off the show now, you know? Yeah. Because I guess
I would be too.
Well, in real life, that doesn't happen. If I feel like you don't go back to the place that you worked all the time, you know, enough for you to be a cast member of a show. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's really nice the way that they pulled this around and like turned it into, you know, that he's going to come back more. What's the word? Like, I don't know what the word is. Like, he's just going to come back more.
Yeah.
You know, like frequently scheduled arrivals. But anyway, so we start this episode making a scrapbook in true Leslie fashion about her first year on city council. And Ben comes in. This is not his first time, but is this our, I guess, second time seeing Letters to Cleo shirt?
It is. Yeah. And I liked the juxtaposition between their two casual day outfits. Yeah. Like he is a vibe. He is, I want to go home and sit on the couch and watch movies and chill. And she is, we're going to go to brunch and we're going to go to the farmer's market. And like, she's still got that very put together look. Not that he doesn't look good. He's just more cash.
Yeah. She could go out like to a nice restaurant and he probably would need to change.
Yeah, he would need to change for sure.
But I do love her. I wrote that I love her shirt. I love that collared moment. That's like one of my favorite things I feel in fashion. I only have like 2 shirts that do that, but like, I don't know why. I just really love that look of a collar underneath the sweater. I don't know. It's very white girl of me, but
but it's put together. It's a nice, it's not too formal, but also like you said, you could go out to a nice restaurant.
Yeah, well, especially like when it's nice, when it's like a nice colorful moment. It's not like, you know, super mega. That's what it is. It's not put together, or it is put together, but it's not like so drab and office looking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It adds a pop of like I don't know, design and creativity flavor to it. Yeah. Flavor. I like that.
Well, anyway, Ben comes in with the pictures to add to Leslie's scrapbook, thinking that they're pictures of her teaching the sex ed to seniors, but they're actually very graphic sex pictures.
Why do you have these?
I know. Seriously, because all memories.
The second I would have been done with that, I would have been like trash.
Yeah, but this is bringing back her hoarder vibes, I feel, of like all memories and all things deserve a spot, even the saggy ones.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh, but great question. Why wouldn't you incinerate them?
Yeah, that's not something I would want to remember, honestly.
Yeah. And then she has the names, a scrapbook of reflection. The journey begins. Time is the relentless and cruel enemy of the civil servant. And she spent so much time on the names. That's really hilarious, actually.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Oh, this is like one of those things. We talk about this all the time. Where does she find the time to do any of this? Because we know she puts 100% of herself into her job, but she still has time to do the scrapbooking. And she has the time, like the last episode, to put time into all those anniversaries and everything. Just like, she has more hours in the day than the rest of us do.
I know. I don't think she sleeps.
No.
I have to believe that she gets 4 hours a night at the end. I don't know how she's living, but yeah, that's
can't be healthy.
Right. But. So as we talked about before, they have planned to take their day off. They want to have a little moment. And she's like, let's work on some projects. Wouldn't that be sexy for our day off? He's like, no. I don't understand. I mean, I guess I get it in a way, but I still don't really understand why they went into the office on their day off.
That was the first thing I said. Yeah. When they're like, she's scrapbooking, and then you find out that they're on PTO. Why are you at the office?
And I guess it could make sense in the lore of Leslie, because, you know, maybe she has all her pictures and clippings and all that stuff like in her office or something. But I feel like Leslie's got to have a spot in her house specifically made for scrapbooking. So Absolutely. Why are they there?
Yeah. Great question. Yeah, I have no idea why they're actually at work.
Yeah.
And if I'm Ben, right? Like, if Leslie says, I need to go into the office, like, for my scrapbooking, I would say, okay, then we're not taking today off, because you're not going to walk into the office and not do something.
Right. Exactly. True.
It's just not in her nature.
Yeah. So, well, Leslie is now asking telling the rest of the crew that she's going to be gone, and asking April to water her plants while she's gone. And I do love that April says that she'll use boiling hot milk instead because they're out of water. I thought that was kind of funny, to be honest.
That is funny. I love that little cute matching moment. April's wearing the same kind of vibe.
Yeah, that's true.
Collar through the sweater. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too. Oh. Well, then this is when our kind of shock moment comes in, where Jerry comes out and he has this heartfelt speech moment saying it's an honor to have worked with them all. He's wearing a suit, like a suit jacket, essentially. I've never seen him wear that, or at least like not recently, carrying a box with all his stuff.
Way more formal today, like as a celebration.
Yeah. Donna's looked to camera of like, what the fuck? And speaking of that, I really love how they don't really often use the bleep, but when they do, this one was needed. This one was so funny. Oh my gosh. And Leslie, and it's so out of left field. I mean, not really, but like, it's just what everybody was thinking, and you didn't expect her to say it out loud. Right. I think that's what I think is out of left field. It's like, you didn't expect her to actually say what she was thinking, but she just does, and then they bleep it, and it's so funny. So she's like, what the fuck is happening right now? And then Jerry says he's retiring. This is his last day. It's not even the day before. It's his actual last day.
Right. And he has only one box for 40 years of work. Although if you look at how small of a space they've given him,
True.
It's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's big stuff. And unfortunately, he has been giving people a little bit of a heads up.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Nobody has been clocking it.
Right. And I love, Leslie's like, why didn't you say anything?
He's like, I did.
He's like, well, I didn't want to make a fuss, but gosh, I'm pretty sure I said something. Like, I mentioned it a few times. And I do love that they use one of the flashbacks is a real one. You know, that one of them when he says he's 2 years from pension, that's like an actual clip of, you know, earlier in the show. And then I think the next two are ones that they made up specifically for this episode, which I think is really perfect, honestly, because they're so Jerry, you know, like they either don't know he's even there, or he messes or spills something, so they're really just focusing on that, and they're not thinking about what he actually said. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, it was really funny.
Oh my gosh.
Then we, you know, I love Leslie's sneaky comment. And I say sneaky because it kind of is a throwaway, where she's like, as much as we want this to happen, we can't just let Jerry disappear.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And then I do love this Ron saying one sentence, and then Jerry says, thank you, Ron. And that speech means a lot. And it was literally just one sentence of like, great service, the end.
Yeah. Which this happens a couple times in the series where I can't remember who it is who like tears up.
Oh, it's Anne.
It's Anne. That's right. Yeah, when she's leaving, right?
Yeah, because Jerry says like this beautiful like goodbye to her, and she's just like, okay, thanks,
Jerry.
And then Ron says goodbye or something like very small, and she's like, that means so much to me.
I think he even mentions her by name, and I think that probably means a lot to her too.
Right. Totally. Oh my God.
So his words hold more weight.
Right.
I think because he doesn't speak often.
Yeah, totally.
So
And Andy's whole like, okay, see you tomorrow, Jerry. Yeah. Like not even being aware of what is happening at all.
I laughed out loud.
Oh my God.
Of course. That's one of those things that was like, you're like, oh my gosh, that was either really, really great character writing or that was one of those moments where Chris Pratt was like, I'm going to just throw this out there.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So now they're, figuring out how to figure out Jerry's life and whatever. But now we're back with Anne and Chris, back with the fertility lady who is played by Emily Spivey, which we talked about. So I'm glad that they bring her back. To be honest, before I, watched this show as an analyzing moment, I don't know that I would have recognized that Emily Spivey was there both times because I knew she looked familiar in the first one, but I didn't know they brought her back. So that's wonderful. And I'm so happy that they brought her back because she's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And she's saying Chris might be the healthiest human being we've ever seen because they ran all the tests and everything and checked their blood work or whatever.
Yeah.
That's really cute.
He says, thinks I get that a lot.
Yeah. After she says that he has the resting heart rate of a tortoise or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. He's so proud.
And we bring back that, is he going to pass on his stuff? To his heart condition thing to the kid, and she's like, you have no reason to think that it wasn't hereditary or whatever, so you should be good.
Yeah,
so that's interesting,
which is great.
Yeah. And she says, they can provide their sample today because of Anne's ovulation schedule, unless there's another reason that they want to wait another month. And then this is where it gets kind of awkward, and they're like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just big, right? Like. I think about it, you've emotionally prepared, like said, yes, we are going to have a baby, but then to say like today,
right?
It's
sprung on you.
Yeah, I think even when you are emotionally prepared to be a parent, it's still scary the moment that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm actually going to be a parent.
Right.
And the fact that they could do something today and find out in the next couple of weeks that they're pregnant, like it's just so much. And the fact that they didn't go into the meeting thinking that was a possibility also is, but Emily's character is just so, but like matter of fact, like, let's get going.
Yeah. Like we're here, you know? I think I have notes on that later on, where they actually are like providing the sample. So I'll get there when we get there. But anyway, okay, so now back at City Hall, Leslie's sad because she was like, I'm only over here thinking about myself, and she didn't stop to think about Jerry. And poor Ben, I mean, he's just like, oh my God, can we please just have like one day off? I love throughout the whole episode Adam Scott's face, like especially when Jerry is like in the office with them. He's just
like, I have that note,
covering his face and is just like staring at Jerry of like, can this please be over?
Yeah. I mean, because if you're Ben, like, this is a day that you took off. Like, I don't know about you, but I look at PTO day as like sacred.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I'm not going to waste a PTO.
Especially when you don't get that many.
Yeah. Like, if I end up getting emails in the morning on a PTO day, like, I end up just getting my computer out and working the entire rest of the day because I'm like, it's basically wasted now. My head's already been in work. And I think he's just like, I wanted to be with my wife today.
Yeah.
And I think in his head, the way I'm viewing it from his perspective is Leslie didn't make me a priority today. And my intention was to make her a priority, like our relationship.
Yeah.
And that just didn't end up being important to her.
Oh, interesting.
And that's like, I think that's how I would view it if I was in the situation. Like, we took this day to be together, and not that she cares more about Jerry, right? But that this other thing popped up in front of her and she's like, ooh, shiny, we're going to do that instead. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it feels like he just gets pushed on the back burner.
Yeah, well, and I mean, now Leslie is going through Jerry's file, and it's like this part is really funny too, where the file doesn't really have much. It's a handicap parking from when he got gout, the sticker for handicap parking, a Parks and Rec golf cart driving exam, which he failed, a bad performance review from her. She was like, who would write such a thing? I stand by this. Yeah. I stand by it. And apparently at the beginning of his time at City Hall, he had dreams and goals. Like, he wrote down that he wanted to meet the mayor. He wanted to have a building named after him. And to be honest, that's a stretch even for like really accomplished people. So that seems like something that he just said because he was really young. So.
Yeah, right. He didn't know what it took to get your name on a building.
Right. Yeah. But I do love, I mean, this is where she does prioritize him, because he says mac and cheese pizza and she's just like, oh, you made that, and starts making out with him. And it's very precious.
It is.
Love that. Well, now April says that torturing Jerry was one of her favorite things in the world to do. So they're all sad that there's no Jerry anymore. No one left to, be mean to, which is like a weird thing in and of itself.
Yeah.
But then Ron says, don't worry, like there'll be another Jerry. When one Jerry leaves, the office naturally selects another one to make fun of. So now everyone is worried about who will become the new Jerry, and it's making everybody paranoid, and everybody's like, oh my God, who's going to be the new person to fuck up and be made fun of, which is really sad, to be honest.
It is. Like, why do we need to do that?
I know. Oh my gosh.
It's so sad.
Okay, so now we're back at the fertility clinic, and I don't love that we skim over the next part of this whole like Anne's transition to another position, so it's not a conflict of interest. I do love that they're putting that in there so that it's like a nice detail. I like that, but I don't really understand what happened with that either.
Yeah.
Again, everything feeling rushed again.
Again, yeah. Yeah, they're just trying to rush it along. The only logical thing in my head was that what they would have done was that they had already started the process, but they didn't know they were going to do this today. So she was calling to get confirmation that it had cleared.
Yeah, totally.
But we've never talked about this before.
Right, exactly. Because it absolutely needs to happen. The conflict of interest is real. But I guess the skimming over it was just like, I felt slapped a little. I was like, not slapped, like whiplash. Like, where'd that come from? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so now she's an employee of the county health board, and I'm guessing that this is city. It's like city and county are separate. I'm reading too deep into it, but like that would make sense to me. So anyway, I will say this is the first time I laughed out. The next thing is the first time I laughed out loud in the episode where the guy's like nurse gives Chris the cup to put his sample in, and he says if you fill it up all the way, you get on the board. And there's a picture of Harris with his thumbs up, just so matter of fact. Harris made me laugh out loud with that, like just like little kid expression.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, like he's so proud.
That was so funny. And I think the thing that really made me laugh too was current champion underneath.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to beat it, this is the current one.
Right.
Just so many things to say with those two words is so funny to me.
Yeah. It says so much with so little.
Right. Exactly. This nurse person is played by Mike No-Jun Park, by the way. He doesn't have any information really on his IMDb as far as contact info, but he was in St. Denis Medical, which is the new Peacock show. It's so good. Have you watched that yet?
I haven't, but I've seen clips of it and it looks funny.
You will love it. It's the same mockumentary style. It's so good. Oh my gosh. That, Abbott Elementary, and Will Trent are keeping my faith in network TV, to be honest with you.
Okay. Good to know.
It's so good. And then General Hospital, he was also in. Space Force, Will and Grace, he was also in. Side note, really funny, the name they gave him on IMDb was Donnie Cumtembler. Like, Cumtembler.
Oh my gosh. Lord. There's a reason they didn't say that in the show.
Like, Mike, sure. Mike.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Oh my God, hilarious. But anyway, okay, this is where I think I had my notes on the Anne and Chris thing, because it's awkward because Chris is like, I'm going to go in there and like provide my sample. You're going to be out here pretending not to think about what I'm doing in there. And I'm going to try not to think about you while I'm in there. But like, should I think about you?
He also called her his fallopian princess, which makes me want to throw up in my mouth.
Really? I thought that was cute.
I was like, we couldn't have gone with baby mama. Like,
see, that seems cheap to me.
Fair. I guess just
different
more
strokes for different folks. Pun intended.
Absolutely.
LOL. Oh my god.
LOL. Oh my gosh. I don't know what it is about the word fallopian that I was just like,
too medical.
Maybe. But Anne probably appreciated it being a nurse.
I don't know. Yeah. She probably thought it was funky weird too, but works. I don't know. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Oh but this is so awkward. I'm so with you. Like, you can tell they're not ready to do it today.
Totally.
And I'm glad they come to that conclusion together. But it's just like, you guys.
Yeah, well, Anne is like, she can tell that there's like weirdness and awkwardness. Mm-hmm. So she's like, we don't have to do this today. This was really sprung on us and it doesn't need to happen. And I get that. I mean, like you said before, if they're not prepared, like you were just expecting to like make the schedule and like confirm everything was good. And I can see how it would be uncomfortable. But I do feel like, and I've never been in this position before, so I could be absolutely speaking out of turn. And I would love to be corrected if that's true. But I feel like people that really want a baby and have been trying to have a baby, like Anne says that she has for a very long time, I feel like it'd be weird and crazy. But I feel like in the back of my head, I'd be like, let's fucking go. Like, let's get started. Like, I know this is weird, but like, what are we going to do within the time frame that we're waiting? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know that again, it's totally a personal choice. And a part of this also makes me feel like maybe this comes back to them too, as the people that are being parents, because maybe if I had a partner that like, we've been wanting this for a long time and we've been going through this process for maybe longer than they have, maybe there would have been a little bit more of an urgency to it or something. But it just felt a little awkward to me that Anne was like, no, never mind. I think. And even though I totally understand, like, wow, this was like today.
Yeah. I think I agree with you to the point of it's them, right? I think you're right. If it was a couple that has been married, like, and every couple's going to be different, but a couple that's been together, they are, they've been talking about having a kid for years. They've been trying for 2 years. They're finally like told today we can do it. They would jump on it. They'd be like, this has been our dream for so long. Because you do hit a point where you've tried so hard. You're so just, desperate's like the wrong word, but you're so ready because you're so like determined, like, this is what I want. And we've been trying for so long. For me, like, it's been in Anne's head since she babysat Diane's kids. And not to say that she doesn't want it as much as someone who's been trying, but I think there's just a difference to me in their situations.
For me, it's different for Chris because Chris only said yes like 2 episodes ago or 3
Very
episodes
true.
ago or whatever. For
Very
Anne,
true.
if we're to believe what the writers say, even if we disagree, if we're to believe, Anne has been wanting this for some time before the babysitting thing.
Okay.
In my head, that's like, I'm sure that solidified some shit, but the episode after she babysits them, she's like, I've been wanting to be a mom for a long time. And if we're to believe that, that's where I kind of get stuck. But Chris is the one that's doing the sampling, if you will.
Yeah.
So maybe that's different. I will say if it was like, again, this is getting too deep again, but maybe if it was like Anne's side where Anne had to like go into some sort of procedure, I could maybe see like, I need to get prepped for that because that's a whole like, procedure, surgery thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to be in the right headspace for that.
100%. So I guess I think that's probably the point where it's the whole vibe of their energies together and them being like, how many weeks have we been maybe thinking about this kind of thing as opposed to years? Well, on his end and them together. So I guess, I don't know. The whole thing is weird, but I guess it does make sense. And I see why they did it because, like I said, it's everybody's journey. Everyone gets to decide that. But take a beat is probably a good idea just to like think about when they want to do it. And I guess that also gives them the time. Maybe that's why the writers did it. I don't know. I guess that also gives them the time to think, I am attracted to you. Maybe we can like actually have sexual relations and not need to do this, so and like from a writer standpoint, like that does make sense later on.
Yeah, definitely from a writer's standpoint, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like I think it does look more like, not that Anne's not freaked out, but it does look like Chris is more uncomfortable with the urgency of it.
Yeah. Because he's the one that's like doing the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. He doesn't seem like the type of person to use a porn like DVD.
No, he doesn't.
So I don't know.
I mean, honestly, it sounds like he can turn himself on. So
right. And yeah, totally. But also I think that awkwardness of, which is what we just talked about, I guess, but like that awkwardness of like, should I be thinking about you? Like that's a whole other thing to explore. So maybe it's not only the sample part of it. Maybe it's also the part of it where they're like, wait, are we like into each other now kind of thing subtly? Or should I be into you if I do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess that's like a whole lot, another awkward layer.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpackage here.
Totally. Oh my God. Anyways, then this is the thing that we talked about in the last time you and I did the podcast together, where she throws the cup, and I was like, nope, hate it. I hate this so much. I think it's like, you already had the awkward moment. Let's wrap it up in a nice way. Like, it's not, I'm sorry. It's not funny to me. I guess it's all opinion based. It's probably funny to other people. But to me, after they just had this kind of deep moment, I'm just, not deep, but like funny deep moment.
They came to a conclusion together. They had to talk about this, like,
and this line that personal. This line that they give her of like, it feels wrong to leave it here. Why, Anne? It's wrapped up in plastic. Yeah. Why does it feel wrong to leave it here? You're a nurse, bitch. I'm sorry. I think they did Anne dirty in a lot of these
little moments.
A lot of these fertility moments, they did her dirty. Rashida does a great job and makes you love Anne. But I don't think it doesn't have a flow to me.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know why we couldn't have just handed it back to the dude and been like, we're going to come back.
Maybe like put it on the counter and then run away. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Well, because then he throws the porn.
Yeah. I don't know. It's very strange. And I talked about this in the last episode. I think it was the last episode or the one before that, where I loved seeing Anne as a nurse again when Ron gets sick from the girls. And I loved seeing Anne be like, shut up, Ron. I'm fucking taking care of you. And you need to eat a goddamn banana and shut up. I loved seeing her be the no nonsense nurse again. It was so perfect, because to me, that's Anne. That is the core of her, personality, her character. And I just love it. I loved it so much. And so I think that's where sometimes I'm just like, I know we all have that moment where we're not always on top of our game. We're not always no nonsense, like shut up, I hate you kind of vibes or making our boundaries. But I feel like it just went too far in the other direction in a lot of ways. So,
because I think even outside of the no nonsense, she's rational. She's always the steady, logical, and this is not a rational response to what's going on, throwing something and running. So I think that's a good call out. Like, that's who she is.
Yeah.
And like, we're kind of losing that a little bit.
And I guess, I don't know, maybe it's just like indicative of how like messed up and like confusing this all is, like she's just a little loopy. Frazzled is the word. Yeah, she's just a little like, oh my God, this is happening. You know what I mean? Like, even though I've wanted it so much, it's actually occurring. This is crazy, so I can see that part of it for sure. So anyway, I just needed to have that little tangent.
Yes.
Thank you for listening.
Validated.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Then back at City Hall, Tom says this like awkward thing, which might make him the new Jerry, the Pilo-Philo. I made 2 Pilophiles, and it's not even honestly that far off from what he means to say. Like, it's he just left off the S's, right? Like piles of files. He just said Pilophile.
Pilophile. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But then he keeps trying to fix it.
Exactly, which is where it gets messed up.
Yeah. Yeah, he just keeps digging that hole.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Also, side note, when he says that he has his little talking head of like, I guess I'll just be the new Jerry listening to Bonnie Raitt and the Da Vinci Code on my iPod or whatever. That doesn't sound bad to me at all.
No. But Tom is a special species of, I don't see him listening to Bonnie Raitt.
I know. He's wanting to be in the clubs and, do the nightlife entrepreneur thing. Which, side note, this is really funny. I thought I was going to see this on like the IMDb trivia or something, but I watch Scrubs, and Aziz Ansari is a guest star in the later seasons of Scrubs, and he's playing an intern, and his character is like this. It's really funny, actually. It's kind of Tom energy, where his character is very lazy and doesn't want to study and is just kind of goofing off a lot of the times or not paying attention. He's still very smart, but he's just not paying attention. And he's listening as an intern, like on their rounds in the hospital. He's listening to the Da Vinci Code on his iPod.
Oh, crazy callback. That's cool.
I know. I guess it was just like, I don't know. It must have just been like within that 5-year span or whatever the hell. Like I didn't look up when Scrubs was on versus Parks, but it's just like I know the Da Vinci Code was huge. Not only the book, but the movie was then very huge too at the time. So it's just really hilarious to me where that actually happened. And oh my gosh.
That's so funny. I wonder which one came first. Which episode came first?
I'll have to look it up. Okay. Secondly, this is like not a soapbox, but I think this is just an opinion. I just hate bullying so much, and I just feel like maybe it's time The Office stops tries to pick a person to bully because it's so stupid and it just shows how insecure everyone else is, which like I understand that that's like the point of it in a lot of ways, but it just makes me sad and mad and glad that Jerry is leaving, honestly, because I'm like, Jerry doesn't deserve this. And I just got in my feels about this because I was just like, do we have to bully somebody? Like, get out of here. I know it's a show. I know it's not real, but it just made me feel things.
I know. I'm right there with you. Like, I don't think anybody should walk into work. You spend the most hours at work, right? Like more than at home and all that. So why do you get to walk into work feeling like, how are they going to make me feel bad about myself today? Like, I mean, I know we've both lived it going to school. Like, how bad am I going to feel when I leave school today? Like, you don't want somebody, like, we are adults, people. Yeah. Like, why are we doing this to each other?
And like Toby joshing around. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say Toby gets bullied in The Office, but it's only Michael, right? The rest of The Office, like, is like Kelly talks to him all the time. Pam and Jim are nice. Like, everybody else is nice to him. It's just Michael. Like that, I still don't agree with, but I could still swallow better than everybody attack Jerry, you know?
Right. And I feel like joking around or joshing around in like is different, but it's that whole stupid thing. Not stupid. It's not stupid at all. But it's that whole thing that you're taught. It's like there's a difference between laughing at someone than laughing with someone. With them. And I know even that's like a stretch sometimes because whatever. But anyway, so yeah, I was just like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And you're right, though. We'll get to it. But you're right. Like sometimes the difference between joshing around with someone is also laughing at yourself, especially the pile of file things. Like that could have easily been laughed off, I feel. Yeah. But I think that paranoia just gets so in your head that you're like, oh, my God, this is really bad, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so now Leslie is meeting with Jerry and showing him all the dreams he had when he was young. And Ben's face, this is where I, again, was like, oh, my God, he's so over it. And then Leslie's like, well, okay, well, we're not going to let you leave here or retire until we accomplish all the things. The first was to eat at the city council private dining room. That's kind of nice, I guess.
Yeah.
And like easy enough. You'd think.
It should have been easy enough, right?
I know.
Why not just have him come back in on a Wednesday to eat with you?
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too. Does it have to be today?
Right.
But I guess
like he lives close enough.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess in Leslie's head, it's like if it's not done today, it's like not wrapped up for your retirement. But I'm just like, it can be done.
But that's very Leslie, right? Like if we took a step back, I think if we had Anne there to help her, you know, they always balance each other out. I feel like we could have taken a step back and said, what would be cooler would be a retirement party.
Yeah.
Next Friday that you plan.
Totally.
And maybe we plan it in the lunchroom. So his party's in the, you know, like.
Great idea. Or even in the conference room they named after him, technically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you know.
It's probably more realistic.
Oh my gosh.
But still, like, that could have still been really nice and still Leslie level effort without her ruining her day off and without it feeling so last minute. Because I know Jerry's a very grateful, very like positive person. But if I was Jerry and this is happening, I'd literally be sitting there like, you didn't plan this. Like you're just throwing this together right now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So,
I guess for Jerry, he just is like, this is really nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know?
Yeah.
Well, so they go to the executive dining room and there's a guard there saying guests are only allowed in on Wednesdays, as you say, which I feel is weird. Like, why? Why can't they just come in anytime? Also, why is there a guard for that?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Like that? It does remind me though of, I love this guard. And it does remind me of the guard in Ted Party Day when what's his face is like, your jackbooted stormtroopers are going to be rampaging my house, and they're like, you mean the Pawnee Police Department?
Yeah.
The Danish today. And so it's probably similar to that, but I just thought that was so funny. And then, you know, to that point of Leslie wanting security levels, so she just like made up a security level.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that cracks me up.
Oh my God.
We don't have them, but shouldn't we?
But shouldn't we though? Yeah, totally. I love this guard though, saying like the way she says, his dream, really?
Yeah.
But exciting news, this guard is played by Julie Brister, and she looked so familiar to me, and I don't really know why. I looked up, I must have seen her on something that she's done on IMDb. She was in The Mindy Project, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She's a UCB gal. She was just in something called Motion Detected, like a lot of upcoming projects, and she was super great. But very exciting that she sent in a voice memo. So let's go ahead and listen to Julie.
I booked my role on Parks and Rec through an audition with Dorian Frankel. Dorian was the casting director at that time. And I look back in my emails, and I found another audition. I know that I auditioned 2 or 3 times, but I found another audition that I did not book to be a woman hosting a puppy party. And oh my God, that would have been fun. But I didn't book her. I booked Gloria, and I had a great time. We were shooting our scene. It was a little later in the day. Like, I knew it was going to be a late day. Speaking with people in wardrobe, they're like, we've had a lot of late nights recently. So I was prepared. I was prepared for that. When I got on set, it was late. Like, it was at like 9 p.m. when we got on set to shoot our scene. Everything went great. I will say this, and this is the main thing I took away from this experience. Working late on a show, working on a TV show is difficult. It's exacting. It's frustrating. People on this show, the crew, treated each other so kindly. And I know that Amy has a lot to do with that. I'm a UCB person. Amy was my improv teacher. She leads with kindness. You could really sense that and feel that on the set of this show. And it was a very, very special feeling. It was so much fun. I got to work with my improv teacher, Amy Poehler. And it was a great experience. As far as plugs, look for me on St. Denis Medical any day now. Like, it should be coming on very, very soon. Thank you, Holly, and good luck to you. Bye-bye.
Oh my God, St. Denis Medical.
Cool.
Oh, I was just talking about that. Okay,
yeah,
I can't wait to
seriously.
see her and what she's going to be playing. Oh my God,
Nice.
so fun. Okay.
Very cool.
I did not know that she was a teacher or a student of Amy Poehler's. I knew she was a
that's
UCB
cool.
person, as I said before, but I didn't know it was Amy Poehler. That's so cool.
Yeah. So she got to see Amy like out of the film world and really get that. I mean, I feel like we get the authentic Amy anyway, but like she got her on that like one-on-one like vibe.
Yeah.
So cool.
And from so many people, it sounds like she brought the same energy she brought to like teaching and whatnot to the set and creating this amazing environment. Oh, that's so nice to hear. Oh my gosh, so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I don't think that every guest star has told us when exactly they shot, but most guest stars that do say what time they were called to set, they always say like took maybe an hour or two. It was a well-oiled machine, and they shot it like, anywhere from 2 p.m. and before. So to be there at 9 p.m. for it wasn't even like a nighttime shoot. Most of the time when you hear night shoot, it's because they're outside and they need it to be dark. But I guess they were just like maybe running behind, or maybe not even running behind. That was just the schedule for the week. I don't know. But that's really cool to hear. And yeah, I mean, tensions can get high, I feel, on sets, especially when it's that late at night and if you've been working for a very long time. So to have the like niceness and the kindness coming from all the people, even though they're tired and frustrated and everything, that's really cool to hear,
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it takes effort, I think, to be nice like on a set after you've been working for really hard, so for a really long time.
I mean, and it's not because you're becoming a mean person. It's just you're exhausted and you want to go home and you're hungry and we all
Energy
can
is zapped.
hit that point where
And then I'm trying to think. So the puppy party lady, was that at the Pawnee Goddesses? I'm guessing the one that drove the van up with all the puppies.
That's what I was thinking.
You
Yeah,
think that's the girl. Okay.
It would have to be that one. Yeah,
which was a while back. So
it was this season though, right?
No, the Pawnee Goddesses. No, that was like season 2 or 3.
No way.
Yeah, huh? I don't think it was season 5 because it was before she was a city council member, right?
I don't know. Season 4, episode 4.
Okay.
So I'm wrong, but
it wasn't. That far.
Yeah, it
back.
didn't. I thought she was like at least running.
Oh, maybe she was. I don't know. But either way, it was definitely before because she was mad at Ron. I just remember that because she was like in the office way more. You know what I mean? But anyway, so that's cool. That's awesome because I feel like I just don't hear that all the time where casting directors will be like, I had auditioned for this one thing and they just called me back in for this other thing. So that's really wonderful. Anyway,
love that.
I'm glad Julie booked something.
Yeah.
She was great as the guard, so I can't wait to see her in St. Denis Medical. Okay, I'll make sure that I tag her and everything in the show notes so you guys can follow her. And thank you so much for sending that in. So fun. Oh my gosh. Amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. So Leslie goes in because she says that she's going to take like a photoshopped photo of her having her arm around Jerry or whatever, and Ben is like, oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? His face the whole time is just like, this is so stupid.
I know. In the office, like you said too, he's just like, why am I here?
I do love that. I mean, well, love is probably not really the word, but it's nice, I guess, that he's just like going along with it. I feel like he's truly married now. He's just
for real. I know.
Because he's just like, okay, I guess this is what I have to do today for my wife.
I know, like true effort. Because he could say,
he could have been
okay,
so
cool,
mad.
You do this. I'm going to go home. Yeah. And I'll see you there. But no, he's like, I'm still getting time with her.
Right. He's just like, I think honestly, in his head, he's just like, okay, if this is what I have to do to get this the fuck over, then we're going to do this.
Yeah.
But anyway. So next, Tom thinks Andy should be the new Jerry, but Andy doesn't get embarrassed. He's just a puppy dog. So which is a good lesson, honestly, kind of what we talked about before. If you don't care, no one else really will either. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Easier said than done.
Totally.
But Andy is a great example of that. He's like, I mess up all the time. So he just laughs it off.
And I think half the time he doesn't even know that he's messing up, which helps
For
probably.
Real. Yeah.
Because there's no shame if you don't know what to be ashamed of.
Yeah. Blissfully ignorant is what he is.
Absolutely. I wrote here that I really love Donna's outfit too. I love all the wardrobe in this episode. Kirsten Mann, well done.
Donna's also eating. I said her shirt is loud, is what I said. And I love it.
Yeah.
And she's eating sushi.
Yeah, I saw that too. With like soda.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That is interesting. I did clock that it was soda, but I did not put together that that's a weird drink to have with sushi.
So funny.
Yeah, but
anyhow, next Jerry goal is to meet Mayor Knudsen, and he's dead, so they're at the graveyard because he passed away, and I love that his little thing says his stone says gifted dog racer as well. I was like, oh my gosh, what
Yikes.
a funny little detail.
Yeah,
and I do love how matter of fact Leslie is, because Ben is like, this was before Ben's time, so Ben's like, was he a really good mayor or something? And she's like, no, he was really corrupt and racketeering, and then he died from pills, but really he was thrown out of a helicopter while handcuffed. This history lesson is wild. Like some people think he's still alive, but because they never found the body. But she's just so matter of fact, like, but they never found the body because he exploded on impact.
Yeah.
Like this story, I can imagine just circulating. And I have to say, I really relate to these little small town like stories because my mom will tell me random stories about people. Like my sister, I think I've said this maybe before on the podcast before, but my sister, my brother-in-law, and I always joke around because when we're visiting home, we'll drive on these back roads and she'll like point at a house and she'll be like, oh yeah, that's where so-and-so died, or that's where so-and-so, like, and then she'll say some crazy thing, totally like Leslie here, like just matter of fact, that's just what happened. And we're all just like, what the fuck? It's just so crazy because when you've lived in a town your entire life, it's like, of course you're going to know all the things that have happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like almost everybody knows almost everybody else. And
yeah,
weird
scandals,
things happen.
Rumors, all the things happen so fast.
All the things. I have a side thing because we're talking about your hometown, Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this. I knew my dad went to visit because I guess one of his friends lives there now. That like back before Killy was born. Well, I just found out that Killy has this little stuffed cow. My dad bought it there.
Oh, how precious!
And I know. So I tell Killy. Yeah, I told him that. I said your Aunt Holly's in this stuffed cow for you. Because it's so where she's from.
Oh,
yeah, and he loves it. He looks at it and he goes, moo.
So, where did he get that from? Do you know?
I don't know. He said it was a little like boutique shop.
Oh, okay. There's like an old town that they have like antique shops and boutiques and whatever random places.
Yeah.
So that's so
I'll
funny.
have to find out. I think he remembered the name and I just don't remember what he told me. So if I find out, I'll let you know.
That is hilarious.
Because, it's like it's from your papa, but I mean, really, this is where Aunt Holly's from. Your cow is from where Aunt Holly's from. It's so cool.
That's hilarious. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so funny too that your dad went there.
And kind of random, right? Like, yeah, he's like, yeah, I got it in Fredericksburg. I was like, Virginia? It's like, yeah. I'm like, that's where Holly's from.
Oh my God. That's so cute.
Yeah.
Wow. What a small world.
I know. It was meant to be, though.
Yeah, totally. Wow. Universe.
Yes.
Okay, well. That's fun. I love that.
Yeah. Sorry to derail, but I thought that was
no,
cute
I need to know that. Oh my God, I love that so much. Okay, good to know. Well, Jerry is now talking to the headstone like, I'm sorry those Serbian monsters pushed you out of that helicopter. Oh my God. And then Ben, I think this is finally where Ben is like, okay, look, we're done, right? Like we did all the things. Can we please enjoy our day off together? And Leslie gets very dramatic as usual and is super serious when she's like, well, in a few years, we'll be visiting Jerry here and he will achieve nothing. Achieved nothing. Is that what you want? And he's like, no, of course not.
Why does she have to put it like that? Like,
I know.
The only right answer to that is no. So,
yeah.
Just.
Oh my gosh.
I feel so bad for Ben.
So next up, Tom is talking to Ron, and Tom asks if they can hire someone new to be the new Jerry, although he doesn't say that. He just says like they should get an intern. It's like a Jerry you don't have to pay, which is very appealing to Ron. Great selling point.
He went in prepared. The businessman in him is going strong right now.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
And let's see here. So now Anne and Chris are reading the pamphlets about fertility and everything at Anne's house. And this moment when they realize that they are attracted to each other and they might want to like take to the next step and everything. I feel like that this part was cute. I was into this part. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I how do I explain this? I feel like I was wanting to reject the part of me that wanted this part to happen first because I know that there's so many different ways that maybe aren't conventional to have a baby. So I didn't want it to be like, well, they need to fall in love first and have an attraction first and then have a baby. I guess I just felt like this was a cute moment that I feel like could have happened naturally, and they could have wanted to move away together for other reasons, if that's even why they started the baby like conversation. Or maybe it's just because like a lot of times the way shows move things forward is for someone to start a family or have a baby or whatever. So like, I don't know. I thought this was cute, and I just wish that we had just captured this moment and had it be a little bit longer.
Yeah. I personally would have liked to see more build up chemistry wise, because
that's true.
The first time I watched it, I just kind of was like, wait, what? You guys like each other again?
Yeah.
It wasn't, it wasn't like they were flirty together or, doing the little side eye things to each other or, I didn't get any indication that this is where we were heading. And maybe part of me could be like, just in the romanticized version of TV shows and movies where we see all this like lovey-dovey flirting stuff where we're like, oh, those two are going to get together, and we didn't have that with them. And maybe that's okay. Maybe it's more real life that way. But this does, I'm totally with them. Like this feels very clinical. We dated, like we are attracted to each other. We should just do this naturally. Like, I'm totally on board with all that. And I agree. Like, I think this part is way less awkward, but I could have done with some more build up.
I hear you. Yeah, I do like that they were, the fact that they had dated before, I think helped me because that's the whole catalyst of it all is where she's like, well, we were actually really good at those, activities. And then they start thinking about it. Then they get the side eye. But again, it's like a side eye that lasts like 5 seconds. So I think that helped me. But yeah, and I also do like, I guess, it's nice to see. I mean, again, like you said, the buildup would have been nice. But it is nice to see them have like this datey, like flirty moment, I guess. So I guess that helped me just like closure some stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything. But to your point, though, like you're feeling kind of what I'm feeling in other parts of it where it's just like it feels like whiplash. The whole thing just feels like, wait, what? Where? Who?
How'd we get here?
You but what? And so I think that's kind of the tricky part and how to I don't know how to handle that. So we just have to accept it for what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
I do love that Chris, like when he's running, like trips and falls or whatever, that was not supposed to happen. He just fell and kept going.
Love it.
So that was really funny.
Did you notice the amount of alcohol bottles?
I did.
Anne's?
Is that like her bar, I'm guessing?
I mean, I'm assuming that's what it is. And like, I totally get it if that's your bar. But there's like pour hand, like nozzles in
really?
like 7 and like 7 different bottles, and for me it's like you usually only have that in the one you're using.
That's really funny.
So it's like, girl,
I don't remember seeing that in any other party.
Yeah, right. I was like, she's like, I'm about to be pregnant and not going to be able to drink, like let's go.
Yeah, let's just get drunk every night.
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah, good call out. Let's see. Oh yeah, when Chris, I said when Chris says that, it goes back to your note. When Chris says that thing about it's also weird because we have engaged in those physical activities before, I was kind of thinking what you were talking about at the fertility clinic, where like, why haven't we had this conversation before now?
Yeah.
Question mark, like what we were going to be to each other kind of thing. And wouldn't that be something like you bring up with the sperm donor situation?
Yeah, I think you should have that figured out before you even go through the process. And maybe that's something that was giving them pause about doing it today, was just, hey, we haven't had some important conversations we need to have. But then again, they could have come to a conclusion of what they were going to be to each other, and then they could have slept together and then needed to have the same conversation that Anne brings up later.
Yeah, because you had mentioned that, I think, when they were going through the questions at the fertility lady office, when like they didn't know what they wanted the kid to be raised as and all this other stuff, and you were like, they didn't even talk about that. So yeah, again, with the whole whiplash thing, I know we're repeating ourselves, but we're just proving our points.
Yeah. Validation through and through.
So anyhow, okay, moving on. Leslie is like, okay, everyone gather around Jerry. And Jerry is like, well, I told Gail I'd be home. She has a tasty surprise, but it's a meatloaf, not so.
Yeah. Everybody else's brains are in the gutter, and he's stoked about
Jerry.
Food. Yeah.
I do love that Leslie does name this Parks and Rec conference room after Jerry. It's like the Jerry Gergich Memorial Conference Room. R.I.P. though. Oh God, I do love that it says retire. Like she says, retire in peace. That's kind of that's a good pivot, Leslie.
That was
tough stuff.
Smart thinking. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Maybe it's because they said memorial. Like the guy making the plaque was like, oh yeah, he died.
Right, and since it was a rush job, they said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then they get out a cake. And this is
where they got
part.
that, God knows.
Jerry lights himself on fire. I do love Donna just being very nonchalant, like, you're on fire.
Yeah. It's like not surprising to anybody anymore if something goes wrong with Jerry. Totally. He gets himself in those positions.
Oh my God. So Jim O'Heir actually did this stunt.
Wow, good.
Mm-hmm, yeah, they did the whole like flame retardant like thing under his jacket, and it was like really padded. I'd like to go back and see if you can tell. I couldn't tell in the first one, so like I don't think they did a good job on that. And then Jim O'Heir was saying that like the stunt person told him that he needs to keep his hand like up a little bit more instead of down, because if it goes down the flame it will travel up. And I was like, wow, I wouldn't have even thought of that.
Nope, my hair would have been on fire. So
like keep your hand like not up all the way, but like, you know what I mean? Just like maybe level. And then I guess I didn't hear about the Tom part. I'm sure that was Tom though, putting the extinguisher on him. And I don't know how many takes they did. They didn't talk about that, but if they did multiple takes, that would be insane to like reset and clean everything up. Like,
he would need different jackets.
Yeah.
Because the jacket's completely done.
Yeah. And then they'd have to like mop up all the fire extinguisher shit. So
yeah.
Which reminded me, I probably need to get a fire extinguisher for my mom's house. I was like, I don't have a fire extinguisher because I'm in an apartment, so we have one in the hallway.
Right.
But I was like, I wonder if we have one, because so many people's fire extinguishers, they'll get them like 100 years ago, not knowing that they expire.
They expire. Yeah.
But anyway, I thought that was really cool. So great work to Jim O'Heir and Tom Aziz for making that a thing. I think also because they talked about it, and he also did the stunt for the park safety moment when he falls in the river. Like he actually fell, because even for those things, it seems like it's little, but those things, they can actually really hurt you. Like he could have broken something. And so I think they want to be really careful about the actors doing that. And so I think Jim O'Heir was just like, I would like to do it if you'll let me, essentially. So that's cool to hear.
Yeah. Very cool.
But also I just love that after everything is done, Jerry is also nonchalant as Donna, again, just like knowing that this stuff happens, and he's like, oh, gotta go. I told Gail I'd be home by 5. Okay, bye. Yep. I'm like, what? You were just on fire, nothing else crazy?
Happened. Yeah. No incident report is filed. Nothing.
Oh my God. Well, and then they all get mad at Tom because he got fire extinguisher stuff all over the cake. And he's like, classic Pilo. The cake is ruined.
Yeah.
And then Andy again. I love this callback. Okay, see you tomorrow, Jeremy. Calling him Jeremy was like the literal icing on the cake. That was so fun.
Yeah. So good.
Okay. Well, this is where we get to our fun part, that Leslie decides to go to Jerry's house and say sorry for the day yesterday. And I'm, sorry I couldn't give you everything you needed. And Jerry is in a Hawaiian t-shirt, just having so much fun. It looks like having a great day. And he invites her in for breakfast. And she's like, no, I just want to give you something. Like just give him the scrapbook. Gail is there, which is very exciting. Love a Gail moment.
That. Has Leslie met Gail like in front of us? Because we met her at the Christmas party, but Leslie didn't go to the Christmas party.
I know. Great question.
Because I'm intrigued to, I think I think she knows who Leslie is just because, well, she's a councilwoman, right? But also Jerry probably talks a lot about her.
Right. That's a good question too. I don't know, like what else she would have come to. Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, interesting.
But I feel like they should have. Oh man, that's a stumper. I feel like they should have. I don't know.
Interesting.
Well, anyway. Okay, so Leslie saying she's not into breakfast foods is a very strange thing to hear. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She'll say anything to get out of Jerry's like orbit. I feel it was so bizarre. And so they insist that she goes in, and she's like, I don't know. I feel like she's just so reluctant.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
But she'll like it. Which is
sad.
She'll learn.
Because usually, she's so like in everybody's space.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to see her not. And Jerry points out her waffle purse, but it's like you could also point out the fact that she goes to JJ's like on a daily basis.
And
you
literally
also know
had
that.
waffles at her wedding.
Right.
Where Jerry was there.
Right.
Oh my God, so funny.
Yeah.
So back at City Hall, they got a new guy intern, and Donna's hitting on him. Oh my gosh, I love that he calls her Miss Meagle. Like, work just started. Yeah, but our work is just beginning.
You know? This is the shirt that's loud.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay.
I made a note here, but I thought it was the shirt from
before
the first day. But it's this shirt. The green and it almost looks like a Jamaican flag.
Oh, I need to go back and watch it. I can't picture it right now. Yeah. But that's so funny. Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tom is upset because this guy's cute. He's a jock, according to April. Like, Tom was not expecting someone cool to be the new Jerry. And he's also a philanthropist because he ran a homeless shelter. He talks about how he doesn't want to be married because there's so much love to give. And Andy wants him to marry.
He gets it.
Yeah, he gets it. Andy wants him to marry him in April.
Yeah.
It's just like, he's just getting along with everybody. Totally the opposite of what a Jerry would be.
Right.
So Tom is really upset. And side note, this intern is played by Ryan Dorsey. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's like a huge star right now. I personally haven't watched most of these shows just because they're very like scary to me. Not scary, just like thrillery. Like, there's this one called Big Sky. I don't know if that's on anymore, but it was like I think it was like an apocalyptic type of vibe, but not, I don't know, whatever. You guys that are listening, maybe you can help me. But anyway, Big Sky, Yellowstone, which is not scary, just stressful at a lot of times.
Yeah.
Justified, Ray Donovan, Tracker, Magnum PI. Like, they were big shows. And he was on the TV show Nashville, which is really fun. But those shows, apart from Nashville, I feel are just really stressful to me.
I feel you. I really like the like Jack Ryan type of shows, but I go through them so fast. And you're right. Sometimes they are stressful because you're like, oh my gosh, like get out of here, get out of here. But I have to be in the right headspace for them, and I have to have the time to sit and watch them.
Yeah.
So I get where you're coming from. It's harder to commit.
Right. It's like Breaking Bad, where it was like,
oh gosh,
you can't look away, but also like it's so stressful.
So
but it was also
good,
so
but
good.
so heavy.
Yeah. So, which is the same, I think, for a lot of these shows, like Yellowstone, same.
Yeah.
But anyway, so great job, Ryan Dorsey, and he looks much different now. Cause does he have a mustache in this episode? I can't remember.
No.
Okay. He has like a little bit more. Maybe he has a mustache now.
More hair.
Maybe that's
he has like, it's long-ish hair.
Yeah. Well, anyway, great job to him. Yeah. That was a really funny choice. Oh, yeah. Okay. This next moment is this awkward moment. I don't like this part where it's like this awkward meeting of Ann and Chris in the hallway after they've slept together. And they don't say anything to each other. Like, why can't it be like awkward, but also like, wow, last night was wild? I could see Ann saying that.
Yeah, absolutely. I have the note written. I hate this so much.
I wrote no with like 5 O's.
Like,
no.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
It's for me, Chris and Anne are they're like the mom and the dad of the group. If we take Ron out of it. Ron's like the angry grandpa.
That's a great idea. Yeah, great.
And I would expect more from mom and dad. Like to like you're saying, last night was wild. Like, it doesn't have to be a comfortable, don't act like it ever happened, but like to just literally be like, well, we'll walk halfway to each other. Like, why did we stop at the end of the hallways like children? And then like we're in this awkward teenage phase of now we've met and now we're like, no, we're not going to talk about it. I'm glad that it gets resolved to a point, but I'm sitting at this and I'm like, I expect more from both of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be like talking about last night. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it could literally just be like, hey, like an awkward hi.
They didn't even have to stop. They could have literally just like nodded at each other and kept walking. That would have been better to me.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so weird. Anyway. Okay, so now Tom is talking to Ron about being the new Jerry, and Tom is really sad because he says he already was a Jerry at one point. He was a skinny Indian kid in South Carolina, which is actually Aziz's origin. He's from South Carolina.
Yeah.
So that's funny that they wrote that in.
Yeah.
And I wonder, I don't know. I mean, I can imagine being a skinny Indian kid in the South. Like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to go back. This is like what we talked about earlier, right? Like, we are adults. This is kid behavior that we're bullying someone.
Yeah.
And he's being pulled back into that like school
trauma
behavior. Yeah. And he thought he escaped it, right? He's a working adult.
He wears fur underwear.
Who wears fur underwear?
Dope suits.
Great call out. Yeah, but I think I would also feel that way. Like I lived this. I don't want to go back to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
100%.
I feel bad for him.
And Ron is harsh, but I do kind of, I don't know, like 5% see, like I get like Tom's kind of an adult, so I don't really know what my role is here. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Ron is so good at what he does. So I love the ending, how that we'll get there when we get to the end, but he did a great job. Also, I was going to say, this is kind of a random side note, but I don't really understand how he's running his business and still working full time at City Hall. Like, does he only open the shop on weekends? Like, I don't get it.
I don't either, if I'm being honest. I don't know if, like, he has some sort of deal where he's in from, like, 7 in the morning to, like, 3, and then when school lets out, he's out there because that's when kids would be there.
Maybe he does it at night. That's a good call. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's a good point.
I mean,
we learn that he has an employee later, but there's so much that goes into running a business outside of being boots on the ground handling them customers.
Also, his employee was like Mona Lisa, so how
right.
What is she really doing? So like what?
He's still doing most of the work. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, I just thought that was a wild side note that he was like just at City Hall talking about being an entrepreneur, and I was like, wait a second. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we get to the breakfast song. Eggs, bacon, and toast is happening. It's so good. Leslie is super awkward at this. With anyone else, I feel like she would just have such a great time with this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so funny to see this like weird contrast.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I asked who. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just said so un-Leslie to me.
Yeah, especially singing about breakfast. Come on.
Yeah. Why is she not like jamming out to this?
Right. And then I was writing in my notes, like, who wrote this song? Like, I'm very intrigued. Jim O'Hare says that he remembers getting a recording to learn of this song. So someone must have made the melody. And I'm guessing it's Mark Rivers because he wrote all the Mouse Rat stuff. And
it's catchy.
It's so catchy. And it's so, I mean, the writers most certainly, I'm sure, wrote the lyrics because I feel like the writers can absolutely handle that. And then I did ask Norm. I emailed him because, like I said, he was so good at responding. So I was like, let me just see. I was like, do you have any memories of this song at all? And he essentially was like, no. He was basically like, no, I don't really remember what happened with that song, but maybe the writers did it. I don't know. Like, okay.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny because that lives in all of our heads rent free.
I know.
But he's like, no.
He's like, no, it's just casual, whatever. And he literally wrote this episode.
Yeah.
It's like Norm. But that's also the email where he talked about how people thought that Jerry's retirement was like Jim getting written off the show. So like that was a good nugget for me from that email. But yeah, I think I'm going to say in the lore of Parks that Mark Rivers probably did the melody. Or maybe even Mike Schur, to be honest, because they've got, talents as well. But it's catchy as hell, and it was great, and we love it.
Yeah.
Oh, also, did you notice there was, like, I don't know if it was meaning to do this or if people were, like, I don't know, like, just had different tones, but there felt like there was a harmony in it.
Oh, there is. I'm pretty sure they're singing harmonies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when Jim said, like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, because when Jim said that he was sent something like a melody to learn, I was like, wonder if they sent them harmonies too to learn, and all the girls had to learn it. And I'm like, I can see that happening.
Yeah, I could also
crazy.
see people being talented enough that you
totally.
I mean, we could have done this in school, right? If somebody gave you the melody and said, "Hey, Maddie, harmonize," or vice versa, right? We could make that happen. So maybe they just said, you harmonize, go.
And it's a nice build to their musical talents from when they're playing
at Christmas
and singing at Christmas. So it makes total sense.
They're just such a happy family. Like, this is what you sing every morning.
I know. That's what I wrote. I was like, every morning, that seems insane.
Yeah.
We sing that every morning. It's so cute.
Like, you have to build that into your routine before you leave for the day.
I did reach out to Jerry's daughters like when we first met them a while ago, but I haven't heard back. So I was like, I'll just leave them be because I know that they're like, doing stuff. But I will just say that their names are Malia Beth Johnson, Katie Gill, and then Sarah Wright, who plays Millie. And I think I follow all of them on Instagram, but I especially follow Sarah Wright because she had a little bit more episodes. So I was just like trying to get in touch with her. And she's a good follow. She's really interesting. She's married to somebody. She's married to an actor that was very prominent, I feel, in like the 90s teen movies, but I, for the life of me, won't remember his name. But anyway, he's fun. And then, of course, our goddess, Christy Brinkley, is Gail. So just wanted to shout out their actual names. So Leslie presents the scrapbook with nearly 4 amazing pages. Gail gets very PDA with Jerry, and that's cute, but kind of also weird at the same time, but also very cute. And oh my gosh, this is the part where everybody freaks out, where Leslie drops a cup and Jerry catches it and then tosses it in the air and catches it again.
This, the first time I ever saw it, mind-blowing.
Yes. It was so smooth.
Yeah.
Like, what?
So well done.
Which is how you know that Jim O'Heir was a great actor as playing Jerry, like dorky goob.
Yeah.
Apparently Jim said he wanted to like catch it with his pinky. You know how like if you like the handle with his pinky, but he just couldn't like make that work, so they just caught it regularly.
That would be extra.
That would be way extra. I still feel like it looked smooth the way he did it. So
yeah, well, I think with it being that still attainable to the normal human to catch a mug like that is like, oh my gosh, he's been able to be a normal human this whole time.
Totally.
It's
yeah,
like
and
attainable.
Leslie's like, where am I? That's so real. I think that's what all the audience is thinking.
Yeah, the way Amy presents that line is wonderful. And relatable and hilarious.
Totally. Like smiling through it, like this is nice, but also what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole family's clapping for him. Ugh.
Yeah.
So cute. I love this next moment so much. And I think it's such a good lesson for us all that Jerry says he knows he didn't achieve all of his goals because Leslie just keeps harping on the fact that like, I wanted to give you so much more for your retirement and show you that you could have accomplished all these things and blah, blah, blah. But Jerry's like the best part of working at the Parks Department was he got to come home at 5 p.m. and be with his family every night. And that's what matters most. And the scrapbooks of work are not the most important things. He has like 800 bajillion scrapbooks and photo albums of his family. And those are filled and important. And it's such a good reminder that like you said, we do spend so much time at work, more than we would spend at home, which is wild to think about. But that's not the most important part of our life. I mean, it doesn't have to be the most important part of your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not everything.
And I love this because I think Jerry's a good example of someone who loved his job. He liked going to work, but he liked being home more, and he didn't want to put himself in a position one day where he couldn't be home at that time and he had to work too much. And I think that's just so beautiful. I think that's an imbalance we have in this country, that success is seen as, I think we're getting better, definitely than when like I was a kid. But, there's this success is how high you up in your company you are, not how you are with your family.
Yeah. Just like achieve kind of vibes. And so the more you do that, the less time you have for your family, and it's a whole like balance thing. So I love this photo album of Muncie, by the way. Like it's literally like engraved in the photo album. It's so cute because that's his most favorite place to go with his favorite people. I mean, this makes, and I think, I know it's like a little bit like, well, it's just building on what we've already learned, because without this home life, Jerry would not be a character that I would be like excited to see all the time. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm really glad that they balanced this out, and that's kind of the point of it too. Like to have the Christy Brinkley wife, to have the beautiful girls, and like this is why he can put up with all the shit at work, because he knows he's going to go home to his loving family. So,
absolutely, yeah,
it's lovely. I mean, not saying that people should be having to put up with anything,
right?
Just saying. But for this purpose, that
maybe that's why it's harder for Tom too. He goes home
fair.
and he doesn't have a family at home. Not that that's not he doesn't have a fulfilling life outside of it. I just don't think he's found his purpose outside of work yet.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Yeah, then this group hug attack moment is happening and Leslie just slips out of the hug. It's really hilarious to me.
Yeah. It's like, and bye.
And okay, so now Anne, okay, this part kind of makes me mad. Ugh. Not mad, but like you'll see. So Anne is going to Chris's office and finally is like, okay, let's be adults and talk about this. And Chris is relieved, and we're finally getting to that point where we're like, okay, let's have a conversation. And I feel like she says like 2 sentences and then they make out. And I'm like, that's all?
Yeah, they didn't.
You didn't talk about it.
That's why I said they came to an agreement to a point, or we concluded to a point where she acknowledged that there needs to be conversation, right? Like, we can't bring a kid into this world and make things really confusing, right? Like, if we're not going to be together, like, we should not be together from the beginning. Because, I think that's great. I mean, you know what I did for years. Like, not a lot of parents think through that stuff. Mm-hmm. And some people do, and things just don't work out, which is also, like a real life that happens. But they're in a situation where they have the ability to have this conversation and they don't have it, but they at least identify that it's something they do need to talk about. And I'm like, thank God, this is at least a better solution than you walking around each other in the hallway.
Yeah, that's true. The acknowledgement is probably more important than anything at this point in time. You know what I'm saying? That like, ideally, if we can, so she says, if we can provide a home with 2 parents that are together, that would be great. On again, off again isn't ideal. So they say they should talk about it. And so they have, I guess they've just now come to the point where we need to talk about it, which again, to me is like, okay, well, you could just talk about it.
Yeah.
But the acknowledgement is important too. So, and as like you said, at the beginning of this journey that they're going on, that can, like you said, they can have they are capable of making a decision of, at the beginning, which can be helpful. So, I don't know, dude. I'm just trying to keep going with this story.
Yeah. But I have to tell you, Holly, like, I've been worried about these episodes from the beginning of us starting this podcast because I've always felt this way about this relationship and how it ends up happening and all this stuff. And so when we started talking about it and you were like, this frustrates me, I was like, oh, heck yeah, I'm not alone. I was like ready to defend how I was feeling.
Oh my God, no. Many Parks fans feel this very same way as us. I'm telling you, some people are very I was about to say some people are very passionate, but I am included in those some people.
Yeah. We are very passionate about this.
Yeah, dude, we are not alone. It's very weird. I don't know what the word is, but it's something that I'm just trying to get through.
Yeah, I know. We just got to get through it. We're so close.
Anyway, but I love Anne and Chris. That's the thing that's so hard about it. And I love this show. So like, because especially now, I didn't love Chris at the beginning. Not many people did, or maybe they did, but I personally was not like the biggest fan of him. It was too much, too fast. But now he's like really grown, and the character arc and the development of going to therapy and like combining your physical and mental health, like, and the way he speaks to people, it's just like, it's so much light years ahead of where he was. And it makes me really respect him. And I really respect Anne now. And so I just really feel like the meshing of those 2 growths, if you will, developments could have just been so much better. But at the same time, I'm not a fucking writer, so I don't I
don't know how I would have done it differently.
I don't know. I mean, it's not like I was in the writer's room, and I'm very grateful for the people that were. So it's like, every show has its flaws, and this is not, like, if this is, I guess, the biggest thing we're worrying about, that's fine. But I also feel like with Anne, especially, I'm not sure that they know exactly what to do with her. Like we talked about, because, like she was following all her boyfriends and now she's more confident. And now Ben is like Leslie's foil. Anne is no longer the only foil to her. So I think that they just got like, I don't know, maybe a little bit like, what do we do?
Yeah. How do we round this out?
Yeah. And I think in the next season, when we see these new characters kind of come in, it's next season, right? I don't think it's the last season that like Crazy Greg. What's his name? Shit. Craig. Craig comes in. It's like that. Those characters needed to come in to give us some like new blood kind of vibes, I feel. Even if it was only for a couple episodes, like they did in The Office when they brought in the interns. That was like literally one episode, but it like made it, to me, seem a little bit more fresh and bringing in Aaron and all these other things. So yeah, I mean, that's just like my nerdy rant about it, but it's like Star Wars I think for people. It's like nobody's going to be happy all of the time, you know? Yeah. It's just like, it is what it is, but
yeah. They did their best with what they could.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Jerry comes back because Ron is nice and hires him back to come back a few hours a week to be the Jerry of the office. He doesn't say that essentially, but he, is going to come back so that Tom doesn't have to be the Jerry. And I do love that line because Tom is like, I don't know about this. And Ron is like, anyone will get to talk to him about anything he might do or say or fart.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Jerry.
Last one. Yeah, you needed that last one for it to click in for Tom.
Right. And immediately Jerry falls and makes a Jerry moment, which is also Jim O'Hare's stunt work. He trips. Him and Pratt do a lot of falls.
Yeah.
Classic new guy, says Andy. So funny. Okay, so this is a nice part where we're wrapping up, where Leslie does say sorry and apologizes to Ben about not spending time with him on their day off. He says he watched Fringe to check for plot holes, but it, as I suspected, airtight. Did you ever watch that show?
No.
I didn't either. I just looked it up because I was not familiar with it. And it's an FBI show. And it started in 2008, so it was around this time. But it was created by J.J. Abrams, or he was one of the creators. Okay. So I was like, oh, okay, Ben, that's why.
Yeah.
Of course he's into it.
Of course. Yeah. That checks out.
But I love that Jerry taught Leslie this lesson about family and life. And she's like, let's take a real day off and talk about starting our family. And I love Ben's reaction. Adam Scott plays this so well, where he's just like kind of shocked for a little bit, but then he smiles and it's like, yeah, I mean, I'd love that. It'd be great.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel like that's a really good reminder. It was like, I don't know, just for like emotionally for us all to remind ourselves like who we like spending our time with and how we can be the happiest, and to make that a priority, because life is just so short. And I think if you can create memories with the people that you love and that make you feel loved, it's like that's the most important thing that we have to offer.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
It's just so life is just so precious and it's important. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Short and precious. Yeah.
So I love that they show that, and I love that because I think this is our first time that we've ever really heard Leslie talk about a family. I mean, she talks about it kind of in passing, where she's like, our kids, like when she's, I don't know, when she talks about like her life in the future kind of thing, but it's never been like a full on, like, I want to be a mom vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's always just been kind of a given that I'm going to get married, have kids, I'm going to be the president. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is a nice little nod to like what might happen in the future.
Right. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah. Well, then Ben tries to make sense of Jerry and Gail, and it doesn't make sense. He's like, did you find anything out, like any reason why this would happen? Does she have a brain disorder? Does she think Jerry is a friendly hat? And I don't know, I feel like this is like, I don't know, again, it's too deep, but I feel like this is kind of mean to think that there's no possible way that a hot girl could be with this guy.
Yeah, I know. It's like you don't know people's relationships.
Also, you don't know Jerry. Like, you've seen him at the Christmas party. You see that he's a different guy than what he is at work. So now you're just basing it off of his looks, probably, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. But I get it. I mean, I do see people, and I know, I don't know anyone offhand, but I think I've seen it before where you like meet them for the first time and you're like, oh, they don't like seem like they would mesh well together, but like you don't know their lives. If it's working for them, it's working for them. Shut up, Ben.
Yeah. Ben, you're spending way too much energy on this.
Yes, you're just thinking too much. I love Leslie's kind of shutdown of like, yeah, I think you solved it.
Yeah.
But I do love Adam Scott and Amy Poehler together. They're just like so cute and perfect.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, their chemistry and everything is so great.
It's lovely. Okay, I think I have one last note here. Oh, I wrote on this note back when they met, I'm assuming, like, remember when we saw the old parks IDs when Tom was trying to do like the 70s retro vibe for the parks?
Yeah.
I feel like his ID was like cute. Like, it wasn't like model-y, but it was cute and handsome. Yeah. And so maybe like they have clearly been together for a while. So if you are basing it off of looks, maybe we don't think about now
what he looked like when he was 20.
Yeah, maybe and also stop it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's my last note. Do you have any other notes?
No.
Okay. Well, that was Jerry's retirement. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, share with all your friends. Very exciting that we're rounding out season 5. What a journey.
What a journey it's been. Yeah, it's been a long... I don't mean this in a bad way. It's been a long season.
I agree with that, actually. I looked back because, I go on IMDb to like look at all the characters and whatever. And I was like looking through season 5 and I was like, the first season of this was Miss Snope Goes to Washington, or first episode. Yeah. And I was like, that feels like ages ago.
Forever ago.
This was also back in the times when episodes had literally like 24 episodes, which is gnarly to me.
I know. I'm glad they don't do that anymore. Yeah, I liked it like when we had it that way. But like now, it's just hard to keep up with how much is going on. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's also a lot of the reasons why, from what I hear, again, I'm not an expert, for why crews and stuff were working so long and so crazy nights, because they had to get that amount of stuff in. So I don't know how that changed. I mean, streamers changed a lot of shit. That's really the main point. Because streamers were like, we don't fucking care. You know what I mean? But anyway, so thank you guys for listening. And I hope that you have a wonderful week or whenever you're listening to this. And we'll see you on the next one.
See you next time.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.